Hello everyone, welcome back to Dark Souls 3. I think I got the recording stuff under wraps, so hopefully we won't have any more hiccups. We're heading back to the halfway fortress, coming down to the Crucifixion Woods. Not necessarily the long way, but a longer way than usual. The game plan, as we talked about in the last episode, we are going to be heading through the center part of the Crucifixion Woods. Hopefully avoiding some giant crabs. Hopefully getting some souls along the way too. I'm hoping to pick up an extra couple of levels. Cathedral of the Deep you can do at a low level, but I'm using uncomfortable weapons, and so I kind of want to boost myself up just a little bit. Just me being casual. Of course, being casual is just, this is what you'd be doing in any other RPG. You'd be grinding, leveling up, that sort of thing. Oh, we're gonna try to head through the bottom here, but we're gonna take care of these guys. Fire bombs. Always keep some items handy on you, folks. So today is gonna be not so much some lore explanation, or even discussion. Interested in just hanging out, talking. Oh shit! If I don't get completely wrecked on the way here. Sup, guy? We're gonna actually head across this way. There are a couple items throughout here. You just have to be careful of this giant crab. Green blossom. I believe there's another one on some other side of this tree. Could be wrong. I'm definitely wrong. Yeah, there's the crab. Alright, now we're booking it. Now we're booking it. I want to get that item. You could see here, Conjurator set. Great Swamp Pyromancy Tome. Force him to go around the other side. No. Get up on the high ground. I've got the high ground, Anakin. The crabs aren't a huge deal. And I actually should be fighting them if I want souls, because they do drop a fair amount of souls, but... they're just a pain in the butt. They're a huge sink. The Grass Crest Shield, our good friend. Good health regen, honestly. Not health regen, stamina regen. So here is the center part. Get our Fallen Knight set. I'll take a look at that when I'm safe. I will not be safe for a while. We can see one guy up there. There's another guy further up. I'm gonna see if I could try to firebomb him out. They will both aggro at the same time. I'm not completely... Oh, come on. Close. Close. A little bit lower, maybe. More to the left. Oh, okay. How about there? Yeah, nailed him. So these are a couple of watchdogs of Farron, which is a totally different thing from the Abyss Watchers. And these guys can be a problem. Stop you healing. And they're not, you can see, like, they're not doing too much damage to me, but... there we go. Got one down. I'm actually gonna pick up his item. Because this guy with the curved great sword is way more dangerous. Not to knock my friends who used the Great Club, because the Great Club is one of the best strength weapons ever, but... gotcha. These guys aren't too bad. You just gotta get one at a time. So we got a whole bunch of new stuff here. Let's take a look at some of the weapons first. The curved greatsword, giant curved greatsword. I'm missing it. There it is. Exile greatsword, bloodstained greatsword wielded by one of the watchdogs of Farron, who preside over the slumber of fallen warriors. The blade is a reminder of the exile's past misdeeds. Inhuman strength is required to wield this heaviest of curved greatswords. So it gives us some lore on these two individuals, or maybe just the one. Watchdogs of Farron who preside over the slumber of fallen warriors. Those fallen warriors are our Abyss Watchers. Do we get any good lore from the Great Club? Wood club fashioned from the branch of a giant tree. So, no. Requires considerable strength to wield. Hard, durable weapon. Yeah. And then let's take a look at the Fallen Knight set, because that is a really cool set. Armor of an order of fallen knights who disbanded and fled, but met untimely deaths. Not depths. Deaths. The drab, tattered cloth conceals tough, black metal, which provides dependable protection from fire. It is just possible to make out the majestic gold engravings on its surface. Gold in these games denotes royalty. So anything that has shades of gold on it, you can almost assume to be of a royal line. There you can see the gold engravings. Who this fallen knight was, not quite sure, but his helmet reminds me a little bit of Kylo Ren, kind of the hood with the single visor. Really cool. I really want to rock this one. Will this send me over the brink? I really hope not. We're at 59. We shouldn't go beyond that too much. 62. There we go. It's a really cool set. And with the cloth physics, the tattered cloth around the back, just phenomenal little armor set. And it does give you a little boost against fire. So if you're fighting an enemy that deals with fire, that's a viable option. You have to go up and around that way to get to that item. I'm not going to do that right now. What we are going to do is going to go through this main arch here. Looks like an old portcullis, honestly. Not necessarily cathedral, but this might at one point have been an aqueduct. Maybe carrying water to and from the two locations, and this is just a portcullis. Who rightfully knows? Very cool. And then we get another shot. We've already seen this view a few times, but this gives us probably the best vantage point of the three towers that we're going to be dealing with in the Farron Keep zone. Gives you a nice look down into it too. So yeah, we have another poison swamp. Yeehaw. And from here, kind of similar to down there. Down there is where we fought the Black Knight, kind of straight ahead from where my head is. The Undead Settlement is this way. You can actually see the Giant's Tower from here. Can you see the Giant, though? Kinda? That might be the Giant. I might try to zoom in on that on the post video. See if that actually is the outline of the Giant. And there is the broken bridge. There's the dragon. We found our good friend Yol of Londor up there. And up ahead you can see the towers wrap around and come up on these giant stone archways. We'll be using that later. And there's the high wall of Lothric. Very cool. No matter where you are in this world, once you leave the high wall of Lothric, there's always some location where you can see it again. So you come down here, and here's that gate I didn't even bother with, but the Farron Coal was right there. So if you came through this location first, wrapped around here, and was wondering what was down there, you would see a shiny and go, oh, I missed something. And that something is actually kind of important. I would say from the Crucifixion Woods, the Farron Coal is probably the single most important item. Probably. Now we wrap our way down this, bringing us to the bottom. And we get a bonfire, yay! And I'm gonna reset my charges because we're not gonna be too worried about enemies right now. And here is Farron Keep. So you can see one tower off that way, another tower off that way. I got this off camera But the way that this mechanic works, and the Crestfallen Warrior from Firelink Shrine, or the current amalgamation of the Crestfallen Warrior, he says that gaining access to the Legion is a matter of some ceremony. You have to extinguish 3 flames. So those 3 towers, there's one there, and then there's one further off in the distance, that way that you can't see the flame of from the tree line. We have to extinguish those. So either way, we have to make our way towards one of them. There are certain safe paths, because once you drop into this swamp, you see the poison build up there. So this is probably my least favorite zone in the entire game. Poison swamps aren't particularly fun to deal with in any one of the Souls games, but this one I find to be especially grating because it is very large, and there are a number of really cool items that for this build don't make a lot of sense because they're geared more towards dex and light armor folks. But there are a couple of really nice strength weapons here that you do have to traverse through the swamp to actually get. I got the Ragged Mask. Let's see if there's any lore on that. Rag that covers the wearer's mouth. Likely a makeshift item that helped reduce intake of various poisons and noxious fumes, and it worked out probably pretty well. I wonder if it actually has a good poison resistance. Yeah, 25. Yeah, let's slap that on there. We'll at least slow down some of that poison buildup. Yeah, gave us a little bit of a boost there on the meter. Want to be careful of these slug guys. They blend in really, really well with the surroundings. So our first tower is basically directly over there. We have to make our way there eventually. I want to try to grab this item as soon as I can and then run out. Titanite shard. Good, good, good. Need shards. Want to upgrade this Vihanda. Another item off that way. I'm gonna let the poison reset. Throughout this whole zone, you'll see these little resting spots, and almost all of them have more crucifixions on them, but you can see the monsters have changed. It's not just humans up there, it's these weird creatures now. Typically with any poison swamp in a Souls game, you're gonna see some really, really bizarre beasts hanging around. Usually they have been transformed by the poison in one way or another. We see that with some of the citizens of Blighttown in Dark Souls 1. They're not just typical normal undead human folks. They are, in fact, very monstrous. The implication there that the poison actually got to them. Estus Shard. Yeah, here's some more of them. Wonder why these guys were crucified. Crucifixion having heavily to do with the Cathedral of the Deep. I wonder if they got this far. Cathedral of the Deep is in everything. Just about every major action in this game has to do with the Cathedral of the Deep. So we're going to avoid those guys. We're actually going to come up here. Because this is going to be where our first tower is. As you can see, we're approaching it from the bottom. These guys are a problem. See if I can pot shot them a little bit. And stagger them, luckily. Oh. Now we're poisoned. Take him out real quick. Pop this. Do I actually have any... I don't think I have any purple moss. Great. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the poison. Luckily, the poison in this game is not really all that intense. You didn't drop an item, did you? No. Okay. It is a very, very slow poison, but it will trickle down. Extinguish 3 flames and open the door to Wolf's Blood. So if you didn't get that dialogue from the Crestfallen Warrior, that just tells you now. These altars are very, very interesting. Interacting with them will snuff out the flame, but it's the engravings on the back, which are really, really cool. Here we see a kind of robed figure with a tree behind it. This is the Witch of Izalith. That is my assumption. I can't think of anyone else who that would be. And it makes me think that the Undead Legion at least in some respects. Maybe not the actual Abyss Watchers themselves, but the Undead Legion see these old tales and legends of the Witch of Izalith and Gwyn, maybe not as kings, but certainly legends that are revered. And in order to gain access to the Undead Legion, you have to extinguish the flames associated with each one, similar to how the chosen undead had to defeat them in the past. Very, very interesting to me. It makes me think that the Undead Legion and perhaps the Chosen Undead are the inspiration for both the Undead Legion and the Abyss Watchers themselves. If you follow Dark Souls 1 at all, you know that while Artorias is the one that got all the credit for stopping the spread of the Abyss in Ulusil, you know from experience that the Chosen Undead was the one that went back into the past and actually finished the job for Artorias. Artorias went, he failed, and fell to the Abyss. But it was the Chosen Undead that ultimately went into the past and stopped Manus. Stopped the spread of the Abyss, at least in Ulusil. There's an enemy over there. Hey, guy. How do you like that firebomb? Okay. We get a rotten pine resin. That's a poison imbuing item. There's nothing around this way. Now, this path, I believe, is a dead end. Yep. You can actually drop down from here and get you access to this side of the tower. But we are not going to do that. We're going to continue along this left side, at least for a little bit. I'll top myself off here while the poison... The one nice thing about having the poison on you is that you no longer have to worry about poison buildup. As you can see, my poison meter is not going up at all. So once you are poisoned, you can just freely traverse the swamp. And that's actually almost preferable. It keeps you a little bit more calm, a little more reposed, I guess. Stone Parma. Just a general shield weapon. Making my way downtown. I'm not, as you can see, I'm taking out some of them that are in my way, but most of them I'm just completely avoiding. They're not worth the effort. Some more rotten pine resin. And here we get another Dark Wraith. This one has substantially more HP than our good friend at the bottom of the High Wall of Lothric. Got him. And he gives us a cracked red eye orb. He will actually drop his armor set and weapon if you farm him enough. And this actually is a good location because it's a straight beeline. The bonfire is actually back that way. And he's standing by this tower. And I'm not sure if there's any significance to that. Let's see what this item is. The Sage's Coal. Probably not. We see no association with the Dark Wraiths with anything to do with the Crystal Sages at all. Okay, let's take a look at some of these items then. The Sage's Coal will be here. Coal used for weapon infusion. The white magic flame produced by this coal was given to the Undead Legion long ago by one of the Crystal Sage twins. Probably the one that we already fought that was helping out the Undead Legion learn their Farron dart strategies. Give to the blacksmith to be able to infuse with crystal, blessed, and dark infusion. So this gives you your basic magic, faith, and kind of combo, because dark is kind of a combo infusions. We also picked up a Great Swamp Pyromancy Tome back in the Crucifixion Woods. You can give this to Cornix back at Firelink Shrine. Spells of the Great Swamp are passed down from master to pupil. Without a master, there is no pupil, but without a pupil, there is also no master. It gives you a little bit of insight into the relationship between pyromancers. In Dark Souls 1, pyromancers actually give pieces of their flame to you in order for you to grow. You can get yours in Dark Souls 1 from a variety of sources. Most people will probably get it from Laurentius of the Great Swamp, who often will talk about that relationship. And so this just kind of highlights on that, and this will give you some pyromancies to buy if you give it to Cornix of the Great Swamp. I think at this point we're actually we might homeward bone out of here towards Firelink Shrine. Why don't we do that? Whoops. Thought I had it hotkeyed. I did have it hotkeyed there. We're gonna go to the Shrine Bonfire. Because I do want to give some of this stuff up. And I do want to see if I can upgrade that Zweihanda a little bit. Maybe infuse it with the heavy gem, because that would be a huge boost for me. Be a huge boost. But let's see what Andre has to say about the Sage's Coal.
That is good, wasn't it? Well, well. What's the Undead Legion doing with a coal such as this? I'd heard one of the Crystal Sages had sided with Farron's Abyss Watchers. I suppose it must be true. You should know, this coal is imbued with magic. First one I've ever seen. Hardly a surprise, is it? I've never been one for books or wise men.
So, yep. Andre in Dark Souls 1 did not take care of your magic infusion, so if this is the same Andre, which I don't think it is, I think it's just some sort of reincarnated form, but he took care of your regular, raw, and holy weapon upgrade paths in Dark Souls 1. So when he says that he's never seen a coal like this, that's probably actually the truth if this is the same one. Can we upgrade this Zweihanda? Nope, not yet. We still need 2 more. But we can reinforce this Estus flask, which is great for us. The other, and before I forget, we pick up so many items at this early stage of the game. The Conjurator robes. Attire of traveling conjurators. Conjurators were the predecessors to pyromancers and spent their lives roaming the lands. No wonder their attire was designed to protect them from fire, poison, and other threats of nature. That is Laurentius's set. There's not much really to say about that other than that.
Ah, there you are, and I wish to it for trusting the lowly. As promised, I will, but first, you'll need a flame.
So he gives you a pyromancy flame. Really cool.
With it.
So we can give him a pyromancy tome, and we are actually going to give him this.
Here we are. It's been long indeed. With this, I can teach you more sophisticated pyromancies. Splendid. I can boast I am your tutor a little longer.
The pyromancies that he does give us are these ones. Poison Mist. It's from the Great Swamp. It creates a poison mist. What's interesting is that it was crafted by Engi, who is a Dark Souls 1 character, was probably the guy who caused Blighttown to go to crap. Blighttown was probably an okay place up until that poison swamp entered it, and it's implied in Dark Souls 1 that Engi was probably the one to do that. Engi was driven from the Great Swamp. However, his pyromancy continues to succeed him. Perhaps dwellers of the Great Swamp were reminded that their very existence is one rooted in heresy. Interesting there, heresy. Pyromancies descend from the study of the Chaos Flame. And the Chaos Flame, as we have discussed, is an abomination of the First Flame. And so I think that's what that heresy is referencing. Unique pyromancy of the Great Swamp associated with Carmina. Carmina is a goddess type figure. Intense sweating increases fire damage absorption, so you're essentially just sweating a whole lot. An influential pyromancy that internalizes flame, likely forming the foundation for many subsequent spells. Profuse Sweat, also another one with Carmina. This one does something a little bit different. It boosts resistance to bleeding, poison, frost, and curses. The yellowish sweat cures all kinds of ailments. Really, really nice if you're having trouble with certain areas or certain types of characters. If you know you're going to be facing bleeding characters or the poison swamp, this might be a good one. Not much here. The Fire Orb actually has an interesting last little bit of dialogue here. They say that once a pyromancer learns the spell, their understanding of the flame deepens, together with a yearning for it. Kind of, because Fire Orb is an evolution of the Fireball, where Fireball is small, Fire Orb is big, and it's kind of like, okay, well, how big can we make this flame? And so most of the spells after that have to do with messing around with with that idea. This one gives us a little bit about Cornyx. This emits a constant stream of fire, similar to what you would do in Skyrim, honestly. Cornyx is a venerable pyromancer of an older mold, said to have restored a number of spells lost to the past, amongst which this is the most well-known. So, that's his job. He wants to restore the pyromancies of old. Pyromancy is at once known fear and longing, the resultant power of which depends on both the caster's intelligence and faith. Gives you some insight there into how pyromancy scales, so to speak. It did change a little bit with Dark Souls 3. The fear and longing has to do a lot with flame. You fear flame, but you long for it. You know, you fear getting burned, but you want the warmth. And pyromancy is about that balance between the two of them. Let's see if he has anything more to say to us.
Pyromancy tomes, take this sage advice. The lands of the lords converge upon Lothric. The home of pyromancy's drifts comparatively close as well. At least, that is what pyromancers of the Great Swamp believe. The place is called Izalith. Oh, how I wish to behold a primal pyromancy. Well, these are old tales. No one knows where the truth begins or ends.
So I've talked a little bit about how the world is actually merging upon Lothric. Geographically, we move through a couple different locations. These locations were probably not here originally, and it's the fading of the first flame. It's the Lords of Cinder's effect upon the world, and now the entire world is basically just collapsing upon the epicenter of the problem. This guy Cornyx is of the opinion that because the lands are converging, we're probably closer to Izalith than we've ever been, which is kind of true. And he wants to see one of those primal pyromancies. So let's see if she's got anything to say.
I was not meant to be a firekeeper, but I am honored to serve you beside the bonfire. The gods are ever merciful. My gratitude lies with them and with you. I am yours now. So,
Irina of Karim, we now know why she was traveling here. She wanted to be a firekeeper, and she is blind, and she talks a little bit about the creeping darkness within her, and we've already kind of talked ad nauseum about that, so I don't really want to go into that too much. Part of her quest line is you give her these divine tomes, these Braille divine tomes, so that she can actually read it. She wouldn't be able to read it otherwise if they weren't Braille. If you give her just stuff that is associated with faith-based magic, faith-based spells, she'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen to her.
Oh, you've brought me a Braille divine tome. Now I can tell new tales of miracles. Tales of the greater miracles can be quite the epics. What fun we will have.
If you give her stuff that's associated with darkness, stuff that's associated with the Cathedral of the Deep, for instance, like this deep Braille divine tome, she'll talk more often about the things that are itching at her, the darkness, the creeping things that are itching at her, and so I'm gonna do that because there is a very real thing that can happen if you do this.
What's this? Champion of Ash, this divine tome is forbidden. These are dark tales of things that lurk deep within men. These stories would not please you. Of course, if you insist, I will read them for you. Only... oh, they frighten me so. The little creatures that nibble at me in the darkness.
So, bad stuff can happen, but for the sake of this LP, we're going to be doing it. She's got a couple really nice miracles that you can make use of. Replenishment gradually restores HP, always a good utility one. Caressing Tears cures ailments. So if you're a faith build and you're trying to get through Farron Keep in the swamp, this is an absolute must-have. Tears of Denial is a real game changer. It's a miracle taught by Morn, the Archbishop's apostle. Grants one chance to endure when HP rate reaches 0. I'm not sure what the proportion is, but when you are effectively supposed to die, your HP is 0, it will give you a portion of your health back. So if you're having a real tough time with some bosses and you want that just one extra little shot, cast this at the beginning of the battle. Because even if you go through all your Estus, that one little bit that you might be able to just chug through, this could really change it. Intended to grant the dying a few moments for a final farewell, tears are shed for the sake of the living more so than the deceased. Interesting notion there. You cast this on someone that's dying and it gives them just a little bit while longer just to say goodbye. How nice that would be, wouldn't it? So many people that just go. Here are the spells that she gets from that Deep Divine Tome. Deep Protection is actually really good. Slightly boosts attack, damage absorption, and resistance, while also increasing stamina recovery speed. So just all around general really good stuff. The Deep was originally a peaceful and sacred place, but became the final rest for many abhorrent things. This Tale of the Deep offers protection for those who worship amidst these horrors. Really cool utility spell. And then Gnaw. This is similar to what we've seen the Evangelist toss at us, that bleeding effect thing. These insects, which lurk in the deep, have tiny jaws lined with fangs to tear open the skin and burrow into the flesh in the blinking of an eye, causing intense bleeding. Hello? Hi, what's up? Yeah, I'm home. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was away from all the house phones. Oh, no. Yeah? Oh, yeah, actually. Oh, yeah, that would be totally her kind of book, actually. It's a really psychological movie from what I understand. So the book would be right up her alley. Yeah. Yep. Oh, cool. Yeah, she'll like that. Yeah. No, she'll be home tomorrow. Hello? Hi, no, she'll be home tomorrow. Yep. Okay. 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 All right. All right, bye-bye. Love you too. Bye-bye. So, with this particular miracle, there are some instances where I can see this being associated. Insects are heavily associated with undead, and certainly creatures of dark in general. In Dark Souls 2, and this is the area that I just got to, in the Shrine of Amana, there's actually a set of insects that, when sung to, will calm the undead creatures that are in the Shrine of Amana. Those are actually just fireflies, but I wonder if those aren't the only creatures that will associate themselves with undead. You know, if fireflies will calm them, I wonder if these ones will enrage them. Certainly tear open their skin. Kind of brutal. There's a couple other things here, you know, general heal stuff. Not a real ton of lore dumps. It just tells us a little bit about miracles, in that miracles aren't actually spells in the traditional sense. They're actually just stories. And upon reading the stories of the gods and of these great legends, it actually activates certain effects. So, kind of an interesting thing.
In my home of Karim, I was a nun. I would be pleased to share the tales of miracles with you. Although, to be honest, I only know a few. But if I had a divine tome, I could tell you many tales and more. Oh, only I cannot see. Terribly sorry, but you'll have to find me a divine tome in Braille.
Yeah, so she just tells you a little bit, kind of like how Cornix tells you about swamp pyromancies. She tells us that she's a nun. Back home in Karim, she was a nun. So there must still be some sort of religious hierarchy. You know, we see a lot of bishops and apostles, but very few actual women titles. So we are going to head back to Farron Keep, kind of explore down there a little bit. I do want to say thank you to all of you that are following me. I'm approaching the end of the year, and I want to thank you all for